each other's mental space. If you ever need me, just call. I'ma come running, give it my all. Love is love, God wins. Keep your vibrations high and watch how your blessings.
Oh, what up? What up? Let's play some music till some people get in here. Maybe.
The world has lost its mind, wondering why you're trying to find more money, more time to fix the loss, make it alright. It ain't easy going through this life, blinded by false light, feeling dead inside. But there's hope for wrongs to be made right, long as we can stay living collectively today. All we want, all we need, all we ever really wanted was you. All we ever really needed was you. You, I love you. Ah. Another year, another tear, another word, another ear. Wisdom only speaks to understanding that can't hear. Believing by only seeing makes the vision unclear. High tides of love will flood, the Atlas family is one. All we want, all we need, all we ever really wanted was you. All we ever really needed was you. You, Atlas,
Pay
you.
attention to it.
Ah,
No, you gonna miss a lot.
ah, ah, ah.
So with y'all, hit the like button, hit that thumbs up button.
All we ever really wanted was you. You.
That thumbs up button waiting for y'all to hit. Hit the thumbs up, hit the thumbs up. What's up with y'all? I had to end the live earlier, man. I had to, take that trip and get these animals out here. Now we got the goats, we got the donkeys. We're doing great things. We're doing great things. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. We're still dealing in frequencies, though. We're still dealing in frequencies. I think I last was talking about the Atlantis and the Egyptian thing, somewhere around that. Some hidden stuff, some secret stuff. But if we're fast forwarding and we're seeing what's happening right now, taking place, what's happening with the internet, the manipulation of the internet, it's actually astonishing that nobody's, putting their finger on it, if you say. Like, nobody's really talking about it, and it's happening right in front of our face. Nobody's really talking about this misery program that's taking place. This is why I say the internet is undefeated. To me, the internet will always be undefeated because of these simple things. To me, but we're in this network where people are actually okay with it right now. People are okay with the madness that's taking place. And it's crazy because, you know, this goes back to like, certain variations of things that were said that would take place throughout history. I never thought that like a timeline of history would repeat itself so tough where like you can actually see it and people are still just like, huh, oh well. Like the frequency of it, how this, Luciferian, whatever you want to call it, it's all right there. It's all right there. And nobody is like trying to point it out. Everybody's scared to talk about it, right? I say, why not? Why not speak about it? If it's repeating itself, you know what I mean? If history is repeating itself, if this is repeating itself in a sense, then why not speak about it? You know? I mean, people say that, you get into too much of it or that's too deep. But when it's right here in our face, when it's right here in our face happening, and it's like, you mean to tell me I'm still going too deep? You mean to tell me you don't see the manipulation of intent, the operation of the black sun? You don't see this right now taking place? You mean to tell me it's still too deep in this day and age with everything being out there and eyes being, awakened, whatever you want to call it? You don't see this new age hijack, astro bliss, spiritual bypass, galactic federation. You don't see this rhetoric fight for the spirit right now. What's going on with people vessels? Like people are not in control of their self right now. I listen, I bet you people are not in control of themselves right now. But if I was to click on something to spark people's interest, it would have to be reptilian, right? Reptilian DNA, how this whole thing goes about, this extraterrestrial entity, this hijacker of the vessel with mind control, unforgiving. What's going on with you? Appreciate you for stopping through. Namaste, Ashe, salutation, shalom, peace. Now I know you guys can't see what's on the screen too much. You can't see the words that's on the screen too much. It's probably as big as it's going to get, But talking about these different groups, you get into this Allison Crowley, right? You hear people talk about this. They studied him. Listen, they have studied him, right? They have studied him. The Jaguar rights, these are something that they have studied already. Right?
Aleister Crowley. According to remote session intelligence collected in Guardian mentorship, Aleister Crowley is a key figure in cooperating with the NAA, starting from gray alien contact made in Cairo, Egypt in April 1904. They scribed and implanted him with Book of the Law, which is
Listen
the
to
second
this.
sacred text of Thelema, written down from dictation mostly by Aleister Crowley, although his wife, Rose Edith Crowley, and the entities themselves are known to have written phrases into the manuscript of the book after its dictation. 3. This negative aliens contact began a lifelong series of interactions and collaboration with NAA to bring into physical manifestation satanic forces of the Black Sun program under the guise of representing themselves as Holy Guardian Angels. They collaborated with Crowley, sent him to various key locations of the Earth's power vortexes to open closed portals and assist in their patriarchal domination hijack of power grids of the Earth.
And think about that. That's still happening to this day. To this day, that is still happening. See, if more people would have found that thumbs up button and hit that thumbs up button, we would have some numbers in here. But due to the fact that we trying to fight to get out of the algorithm that they think they put us in, we'll have to take the small numbers and grow from there, right? But listen to me. The stuff that you see right now is just that. It's the operation of that, right? Moving with this understanding, like you can see it more in the world now than anything. If you take the time to like digest everything that's happening in the world right now, you can see this alliance, this ploy, this plot, this whatever you want to call it. You can see it more in the world today than you could in the 90s, early 2000s. You couldn't see this. Now it seems like it has multiplied to the point where the only thing people is doing is like sitting there trauma bonding, sitting there like, misery program, misery program, misery program. It's like, what the hell? Am I really watching this? Am I really seeing this in the world now where everybody is in some type of self misery program? It's starting to become more evident now. Like, as I'm looking at it, I don't know how y'all looking at it, but as I'm looking at it, I'm like, what the hell? This shit is repeating. This shit is repeating over and over again. Misery, misery, misery. Everywhere I turn, it's like people are repeating this program. And that's why I keep on saying the patterns. You got to look at the patterns. You gotta look at the patterns. Some people don't love themselves. Some people putting themselves through this stuff over and over and over again. Y'all thinking that they trying to heal. They not trying to heal. They trying to get into the next situation that's going to bring the next situation into the same simulation of patterns. So we don't see it, but they fighting over these different power grids. These power grids that we don't see, that's what they fighting over. That's what this is about. So when you see this social media, controversy sells, everybody like playing the victim, or getting we can't really tell who's the victim and who's playing victim now because there's just so many people trying to take advantage of that 15 minute of fame or whatever you want to call it. It's become our addiction now. You know what I mean? This way of thinking, this way of being has become addictive. More people are doing it now, until the next wave come along. This is the kind of, manipulation that we're going to be in. And see, a lot of people don't realize when people be talking about black magic, they don't realize that money is a form of black magic. A lot of people don't realize money is a form of black magic. It's damn near like one of the oldest forms of black magic. It's how they use money, so on and so forth. So the manipulation of money comes with that. How they manipulate money, it comes with that. All of this stuff comes with that. And you're watching this play out. You're watching this play out with this whole imposter soul, this whole fragments of different variations of things. Like, you're watching this play out on a world scale. On a world scale, it just looks like, oh, Diddy got exposed. This person got exposed. Ray J's playing crazy. This person's playing crazy. This person's really crazy. Like, so you're watching this on a world scale, right? Manipulation of consciousness, right? And, a lot of people are just looking at the money. They don't care. That person got the money, the clicks, the views. It's all going into that. But really, the only reason why is because people know black magic, the manipulation of money, is one of the oldest. It's the operation of the currency, right? This is how you
manipulation of consciousness technology and the world of forces for service to self and negative ego purposes without regard to the consent or consequence of others. There are many different levels of the propagation of black magic. Black magic is a form of Satanism. Until a person has knowledge of what black magic actually is and how it is perpetrated and represented in energy, that person is not protected from the effects of black magic. Knowledge protects, while ignorance harms. Some ways to define black magic. Practicing rituals based in service to self-crafts and methods for personal gain and profit at the expense of others. Sending curses, hexes, and negative energy patterns to people with intent to harm, such as making them sick, ill, or wishing them dead. Using deceptions, schemes, and manipulation with intent to harm another. Practicing blood sacrifice or the killing of a living thing dedicated to ritual or cleansing. Practicing black arts for conjuring elementals and demons to work for the practitioner. Acquiring knowledge without tempering higher consciousness that results in succubus activities or the stealing of other.
That's why I say, like, you see this happening right now online more than anything. Like, you see this happening with people online, so on and so forth. You can see this happening. Manipulation. This is
others' life force for use in selfish gain. The use of alien implants, inserts, or
this
etheric
is what
weapons
y'all
to
really
assault
need
and
to know about succubus. Succubus and succubus activities. All right. This is what y'all need to know about. These people, personas, whatever you want to call it, they is running amok. They is running amok.
entities that siphon off creative energies. Primarily motivated to siphon energies from the sexual/creative energy center of the 2nd/sacral chakra. It manipulates the sensory function in the brain to a pleasure stimulus, and this is more of a type of sensation of sexual pleasure, if you will. It is felt in your sexual organs, not your heart space. They show up and create triangulation energies. It can feel like your partner is.
You know, there's a lot of them. It's so many of them. They manipulate this
on you as you
energy.
sense some different sexual chemistry coming from somewhere else.
See? Now think about it. Think about Jaguar, right? You know, think about how, think about the history that she showed us already. Remember what her son said, right? Succubus energy, right? This is all going to the 72 demons of the, soul of man. All of that is playing a factor right in front of us right now. Right now, you see all of this playing a factor in front of us. You see these imposter spirits. You see the people who don't want to let go their ego, their pride, right? You see it all playing out in front of us right now through the internet. You can see all of this playing out in front of us, right? Now, whatever you might study that leads you to knowing this, these different fragments of knowledge, so on and so forth, it's all there too. It's all there too. We knew about this. Maybe we didn't want to believe it. Maybe we didn't want to, whatever. The Muslims will tell you about loose energy, how they manipulate loose energy, why they keep the kids and stuff in fear, right? How did we go from, celebrating Santa Claus to now we celebrating, the Grinch. The Grinch is our new holiday, Christmas now. I'm a mean one. Whatever that song goes. So this is the operation of that, like loose farming, that energy, so on and so forth. This goes back to, those four main realms with Moloch and, all that types of stuff. Like people might not even understand half of that stuff. But all these timelines are laying on top of each other. The falling angels, the seraphims, so on and so forth. These all go back to the manipulation of, knowledge and our history being scattered around, so on and so forth. Then we get into the blood sacrifice, collective humanity, spiritual. This goes to the book of Revelations, Revelation 17, 1 through 7, right? When you start reading that, this tells you, So all of this is lied on top of each other right now. The truth is being revealed. A lot of people can't digest all of this knowledge. You know what I mean? It's too much to really get the you know what I mean? But this is how you would go about pushing into a, one world order agenda type method, right? So this is them trying to push this one world agenda order type method. And you see this happening. You see it happening. You might not want to believe the steps that's being took or how it's happening, but you see it happening. Certain variations of things is taking place. They're talking about cracking down on the word play and using certain words. Now we moving into the, how this flow works. We got to see the Antichrist first. So when you look at this is why the depths of it is happening like that.
The Belial are not only a massive gestalt of false light collective Luciferian consciousness that exist on the material plane, but also a part of the consortium of entities that make up the negative aliens. The negative alien that is embodying Luciferian principles, such as the Belial group, contacts and interfaces with its vibrational match or genetic line on the material plane, which is a human vessel embodying the same collective thought form vibration. These are mostly reptilian beings that have lost their connection to the Godhead by rejecting the natural laws, and in its place produced an artificial reality based on the Saturnian Kabbalah Sephiroth and Black Tree of
Life. Now you got to get into the Cabal, right? This false, image right here. Now you got to get into like the grid that they created, right? This is where the whole Yahweh story comes in, right? The Yahweh collective. This is where all of that comes in at. A lot of people will never dig deep enough to get to the root of this, to understanding this, right? They won't dig deep enough. They get to a certain level and they stop. Once they get into the massacre of the Druid religion and the whole Druid religion that was sacrificed during the Christian Crusade, it's like they stop. They stop after that. After they start getting into the Knights Templars and then the Druid religion and so on and so forth, then they start realizing how cruel things was, how messed up things was back then. Then they start looking at things like that, like, oh, so this was actually a massacre of people, and this was actually a massacre of people, and that took place because of this. And the Celtics and the Druid religion, that was destroyed because of this. So St. Patrick's Day is not depicted after like a celebration of this. It's the unaliving of a lot more stuff. Valentine's Day is not a day of love. It's actually a day of sacrificing in blood. Like, oh wow, the world we live in is more pagan based than anything. And then people want to stop after that. It's like, as soon as you find out that we live in a messed up world and everything that we think was good is actually something bad, and then it's like, shit. Then you just stop. You notice that? You notice that? Like, soon as you start digging into a holiday and you find out, like, damn, that's not about what we thought it was about. It's about some evil pagan shit. Damn. Fuck. Christmas is not about Christmas. It's about Saturnalia. Damn. Fuck. You know what I mean? St. Patrick's Day ain't about St. Patrick's Day. It's about the brotherhood of the snakes and unaliving all of these people who knew about Kundalini energy. Damn, fuck. Valentine's Day is a massacre. Damn, fuck. New Year's is not the New Year. Damn. We don't even have. Excuse me. New Year's Day is not even New Year's Day. It's not even the real New Year's. Our calendar is not real. Like, how much more can we take? Christopher Columbus did not discover America. Like, how much more can we take finding out, everything that we was taught is false. We don't know about the center of our earth. There's not a magma and a core. We only been 8 miles into our crust, right? How much more can we take? You know what I mean? The ocean is not what we think it is. Now the ocean is actually layers of different variations of depths of densities that we'll never reach because we only explored 10% of that with sonars. And how much more can we take? Like, dang, aliens are real. Yikes. Imagine finding out that one, right? Aliens are real, guys. The Pentagon just came out and said it. Now we have alien disclosures, and we sitting here on the brick of, the whole change of existence as we know it. But guess what? You still got to go to work, right? You know what I mean? It doesn't matter now that all of this energy is being released back, ether is being released back into the world, so on and so forth. We have to put the knowledge back into the world. How do we do it? How do we do it? With everything going on, people, how do we put the knowledge back into the world? Come on. Work with me here. You guys feel free to come up in the box if you want to. Let me put the thing out there. Nobody really ever comes up. But it's nice to just, one day somebody will click on that box. And they're going to come up. But this is where that, the story of Yahweh, all of that stuff. This is where those stories got manipulated and stuff. This is why I say the internet is undefeated, because this is where a lot of that stuff got manipulated. During these variations of times, during the BC.
The guardian host position is that Judaism's Kabbalah are based on the inverted teachings of the artificial tree of life as given by the Yahweh collective located on Saturn, and they are a part of the NAA group's consortium of archons. A name of the Hebrew god, see Hebrew tribes, represented in Hebrew by the Tetragrammaton, for letters, Yod He Vav He, transliterated into Roman script YHWH. Because it was considered blasphemous to utter the name of God, it was only written and never spoken. The name of Yahweh ceased to be pronounced. In modern Judaism, it is replaced with the word Adonai, meaning Lord, and is understood to be God's proper name and to denote his mercy. The earliest putative reference to Yahweh in the historical record occurs in a list of Bedouin tribes of the Transjordan made by Amenhotep III, circa 1391.
Now, I want y'all to remember
in the temple of Amun at Sulab
that this
the
changes.
Appears to be associated with Asiatic nomads in the 14th to 13th centuries BC.
See?
A later mention from the era of Ramesses II, circa 1279 BC, 1213
Now,
BC.
let me explain
1.
why this changes, right? This changes because there wasn't no letter W in the alphabet. It was a V. That's why it said Yahweh, right? Or Yahweh, right? Because that's what it was then. It was air, earth, water, fire, right? Those was the elements, right? Yahweh, right? And this was when, this was a time where we understood alchemy, right? And the Druids believed that everyone was born to an element, so on and so forth. So this knowledge was passed on through the Druid religion. And Moses, whose wife happened to be a part of the Druid religion, if you read the book, it tells you that she introduced him to her father who practiced this. This is around the same time Moses sees the red bush, the burning bush, so on and so forth, right? And this goes back into Zachariah Stitchens and the story of, Enki and Enlil and all of that stuff. This goes back into that story too, right? So this is where the whole Jehovah story comes from, Yahweh story comes from, everything like that, right? But if we go back into it, going into the Hebrews or this tribe back then, right? This is the 12 original tribes of the, that's why I say Hakusis, because this is the Hebrew that we know of right now. And this is how they ended up scrambling the DNA, manipulating different variations of things, so on and so forth, in order for us to get to the society that's created today. All of this manipulation has taken place. A bunch of manipulation has taken place. A bunch.
The Hebrew hosting tribes are the 12 original Hebrew tribes that incarnated into the area of the planet known as Israel today. Temple Mount is the location of the 2D planetary stargate. Thus, this is a hotly contested area for the controller forces who desire to completely dominate the region. Region. The Torah traces the Israelites to the patriarch Jacob, grandson of Abraham, who was renamed Israel. Jacob's 12 sons, in order of birth, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, become the ancestors of 12 tribes. The seeding of these tribes was an attempt by the Melchizedek host races to repair genetic digression on the planet with the 12 Essene tribes. Sadly, the original Melchizedek teachings of Emerald Founder records were hijacked by the preferred lineages of the NAA. They inserted themselves as Melchizedek Hebrew imposters.
Imagine knowledge being hijacked.
Dealing with imposter Melchizedeks resulted in the base 10 math distortions of the Saturnian Kabbalah, which was further exploited into the artificial tree of life in order to build the phantom matrix by both satanic and Luciferian intruder gestalts. See Khazars.
Imagine knowledge being hijacked. Imagine knowledge being hijacked, right? And they take the knowledge and they steal this information and they put it out there, falsify it, right? Yeah, everybody was hijacking knowledge at this time. You're absolutely right. You probably never thought that, the Clone Wars was real, and you know what I mean? You probably never thought that this stuff actually took place, galactic wars, Nephilim wars, talking about the, before the flood. The Bible talks about Nephilim. They called them the children of old, or however they called them, the Nephilim, Anunnakis. They said about this, right? Sealing us into the vessels of man, right? This is where the 666 seal comes in, right? Man is 666. So inside the vessels of man, this Nephilim is sealed. This takes place inside of us.
Nephilim Wars, 75,000 YA, Anunnaki breeding program. Second seeding attempt of Nephilim rejected by Elohim, Melchizedek, and Anu DNA fracture.
This was inside of us. Think about them.
Solar system.
Think about them.
Timeline trigger events.
Placing this inside of us. Think about the Nephilim wars as saying like, okay, they fought to see if they can place something into the DNA of mankind. That's what they fought for. All of these seeding wars, these seeds, this is to structure our DNA, right? Manipulating and structuring our DNA, right? Imagine somebody fighting for that much power of mankind.
Genetic templates. Those individuals with the higher percentage of Nephilim genetics as a result of alien hybridization with Nephilim are easier to possess and mind control for serving the NAA negative alien agenda. 1. During the end of the second seeding, the Anunnaki started breeding with humans and a race called Nephilim was created. Many of these Nephilim creations were from the kidnap, rape and forced breeding with the human women of the earth. This was not agreed upon. to terrorize and genetically tamper with the human race, and as a result, the Elohim would not let this race walk on the surface or be on the earth. This created many conflicts which led to the Nephilim Wars, and many subsequent wars broke out when they went underground. This created warring conflicts with the Anunnaki and other races that are Anunnaki sympathizers, such as the Dracs and Syrian Anunnaki hybrids. The Nephilim Wars ended this seeding attempt to populate the planet and was reorganized for the next evolutionary round during the last astrological age, which resulted in the Luciferian rebellion and led to the final events to conquer the human race, which occurred during the Atlantean cataclysm. Many of the Nephilim first seated on the planet were destroyed, and their fragmented consciousness became enmeshed with the lower demonic spirits connected to the dense levels of earth matter. This is called the monsters of chaos, which became embedded in the corrupted dark matter layers of the planet. Some of these entities are bound to the earth and astral plane, and became known as the Watchers. Those blended shadow forces in the planet that comprise both original Nephilim and fallen angelic consciousness fragments.
See, the problem is a lot of people don't have the open mind to understand exactly what's being said or, spoke of in this particular text, right? A lot of people don't have that open mind to be like, oh man, that's deep when you think about it. Why? Because maybe they haven't studied the patterns. Maybe you can't really see what's really happening, right? Because we're in astrological ages now, right? We're in the astrological age now where we have to really know what's the Aquarius sky, what happens in the Aquarius sky, what does it entail, what does it consist of, right? That's what's happening right now, with everything that's being understood. It's like, what is this Aquarius sky? What is this, intel of, consisting of, right? Nobody really understood that. Nobody really understood that in certain times, our sky was actually aging. Nobody really could say like, yo, listen, our sky was aging. This is the age of the Aquarius now. Chinese, they always had like the year of the rats and the year of this and the year of the dragon and all of that stuff. But we didn't think like, our time was aging, the lunar cycle, you know what I mean? Moving into the lunar cycle, and what age will we be in, and what is the age of Aquarius, and so on and so forth. And nobody was trying to understand that particle, that time breakdown. Nobody was really trying to know none of that stuff. Let's be honest. We didn't understand it because our minds wasn't into that level of understanding in order to realize like, hey, this has something to do with all of us. This is affecting all of us. This has something to do with the fire codes that's in our DNA, and so on and so forth. Like nobody knew that. Nobody was trying to understand that at that time. I mean, right now, people are not trying to understand it. Even as these dimensions open up, and you see a lot of people suffering from different variations of split dimension mindset, so on and so forth. Not everybody is in the reality that you think you in, if that makes sense. We all perceive ourselves to be in a certain reality, but not everybody is in this reality that we think we in. You might start having conscious memories of certain people being in certain realities, or you might be on certain spectrums, frequencies, or waves, lines, and patterns, but nah, we all exist in different dimensional spaces. Different time lapses that's laying on top of each other right now. And that's cool. That's cool when you really think about it. But if you ain't taking time to really realize what's happening, then you gotta feel the energy change. You got to feel that energy shift that's taking place. You have to feel it. Everybody's feeling it. Everybody's feeling it. But they just a lot of people not speaking on it. In every single timeline, the same energies meet the same energies, and maybe somewhere along the line we just waiting to deal with each other differently. You know what I mean? We waiting for each other to do the opposite instead of, you know what I'm saying, repeating the same thing. Like, damn, you did it again in this timeline. Damn. You know what I mean? But you hoping that we get it right. We all hoping that we get it right, that we approach each other differently, because we have to come to the realization that we can't keep approaching each other the same way. We can't keep approaching each other the same way. Like, damn, we did it again. Okay, okay. After so many, time lapse of, these false timelines, we have to realize that one true timeline is not a fight. It's got to be unity. It's got to be love. It's got to be understanding. It's got to be all of that. It can't be another fight. You know what I mean? We have to come to the realization that we're all in it together. See? So once you realize, like, okay, in the three dimension, there's two timelines, right? You can go into a higher realm of yourself or a lower realm of yourself, add duality to it, right? So then as you start growing in these other dimensions of yourself, then more timelines get added on to it, right? Based on the people that comes into your life, or so on and so forth. So these people are not coming into your life coincidental or anything like that. It's based on a dimension that you're dealing with inside your spirit, right? And then in the physical form, it is playing out on this stage in the physical form, right? Might manifest in the form of a new face, might manifest in the form of an old face. It depends, right? But you're going to deal with these different variations of timelines, whether you want to or not. Now, the problem is we keep dealing with them the same way because of human habits, right? The operation of feelings and emotions, right? So we keep dealing with all of these timelines the same way. This is what's creating these false timelines. So now the false timelines is mixed up with the identity crises, so on and so forth, trauma bonding, you know what I mean, betrayal, so on and so forth. All of these false lines is what's making us not see that one true line, that silver line, right? So all of these false lines and everything like that, it keeps making us deal with each other differently or approach each other differently, right? We approach each other. Now we have a little bit more anger. We have a little bit more this, a little bit more that, right? All of these different variations of things is going to ultimately determine us, right? These are negative forms that keep on formulating, right? But somewhere along the line, we got to get it right and start dealing with each other better. Somewhere along the line, we got to start. Like, I don't like people playing mind games with me, right? I don't like, cohortions of the heart, if you would say. I know the heart, the Hebrew term for heart is actually considered to be the dubla allegata, which is actually the thinking place right behind your ear, because it's a heart-shaped place of the brain, right? So I know that in that thinking place, a lot of people manipulate that of which is the true heart of the brain, right? So when it says like, so a man thinketh, so shall it be, and all of these different things, these are talking about that place, right? So I try to not get caught up in different variations of conversations, because people listen to what you're saying, and then what they try to do is they manipulate that. They'll hear you say like, yeah, these are my endeavors, these are some of the things that I look forward to accomplishing, so on and so forth, and they try to make it seem like, they can help you get there, right? And they can see that, like, oh, I can see that, and I can help you get there, and so on and so forth. But before I help you get there, these are the things that I'm trying to accomplish. And if you help me accomplish these things, then I'll help you accomplish your things. But you'll start noticing like they never really seem to be trying to help you accomplish your things, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, it's like they're there to get as much out of you as possible, but when it comes to really helping you, it's like they keep on sabotaging it, making it prolonging, making it, longer, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? And this can be like human conditioning. Like, this can be conditioning. Maybe some of these people don't even know that they're doing it. What if they don't even know that they're doing it? Do you get what I'm saying? What if they don't even know that they're doing it? I used to always try to figure out like why people did the things that they do. Like, we always try to put a label on it. Always trying to figure out the next entity or the next persona, whatever you want to call it, right? So it's like all these different things, like all these different ways that people can be. And then you study like the patterns so you can try to understand each other better. You know what I mean? So you stuttering like human pattern all the time. Like, you want to know if the person you with wake up in the morning, are they a morning person or are they a night person? Are they, sarcastic speaking, or, are they, sense of humor wise, all this other stuff that we got to analyze each other on, just to try to figure out our different variations of comfortability. You know what I mean? But then like you don't really think about like what's actually taking place inside the vessel as we formulate different conversations and ways to coerce and stuff like that. You don't really think about what's taking place inside the vessel. You know what I mean? Like, you're not really taking place this build that people put on each other, that's actually like, listen, spirits are real. Good spirits, bad spirits are real. You don't know when a good spirit take over. That's when you just find like passion, and you seem to be driven, and you don't know why. You're like, I don't know what it is, man. I'm passionate about something. I don't know what it is. Like, I want to get, you ever get a good book, a great book, and you read in that book, or you ever paint something, or you ever do some arts and craft, and you just can't wait to finish it because the finishing product is about to be amazing, right? But these are different variations of of high vibrational spirits, and then when you're in that depression, that sadness, that sorrow, that when you're in that, that's a low vibrational spirit or entity, right? But it's the things that are in our light water and our dark water inside of our vessel, right? The holy sea that's inside of us, right? So these things are in the holy sea. Like, even if you look at the manipulation of, our, digestive system, right? If you look at the manipulation of our digestive system, our body has always been creating a gas, right? If you eat a lot of fruits and vegetables and stuff, you'll realize that you'll have a gas and it might be a burp. You'll burp a lot, so on and so forth, right? But if you're eating a lot of beans and red meats and stuff like that, that gas is a lower vibrational or density of a gas, and it comes out the other direction, right? If you're eating beans and stuff like that, that gas goes out the other direction. If you're eating fruits and vegetables and stuff like that, you'll notice the gas goes upward, right? It's the same thing. Your stomach, your digestive system, fermentation is taking place in the digestive system. With every meal that you put in the digestive system, fermentation is taking place, right? And these different variations of gases is building and going. You ever have a burp and you can taste it, and burp, or you drink one of those Pepsis or something like that, and that burp, and it sends your nose a little bit where you can like smell whatever it is that you burp. You know what type of burp I'm talking about. Just think about those different variations of gases moving around the body, but also think about what gases can move to the brain. They say when you eat fish is something for the brain, right? So there has to be an ointment or something like that that is moving to the brain. Like if you look at like sweat and how your pores open up, this stuff comes out of your pores, sodium, different salts, things like that. So when you really start analyzing your body, you'll start giving your body different things that's going to help your nervous system. Blueberries, different, vegetables and stuff like that, that starts rebuilding your nervous system, rebuilding these things. Like, because the one way to hijack the body is actually through the nervous system, right? So once you start rebuilding your nervous system, rebuilding your fight or flight, root chakra, so on and so forth. Now, remember, you're still going to always have to deal with these different variations of dimensions because they always exist. It's not like once you clean up your root chakra, you don't have to deal with your root chakra no more. It's always there, right? This is why, a good therapist is going to tell you always have, confirmations of reminders of how safe you are. You remind yourself, I am safe, I am comfortable, I am myself, I am free, so on and so forth. A bunch of I ams, pretty much, right? But these are to get these chakras in check, right? Because when you're in your root chakra, when you're in that fight or flight, when you're in that survival, when you're in that fear state of being, it's hard to get out of that. Some people never get out of that vibrational frequency. Some people never get out of that. Now they find different variations of things to distract them, but they never get out of that fear chakra. That's a root chakra thing, you know especially like when it comes to like the unaliving process. When some people say, it's always people always unaliving, people always leaving me, or abandonment issues, so on and so forth, right? It's hard to get out of that fear, that fear of being alone, that fear of not being wanted, fear of so it's always a fear, you know what I mean? So we're watching like different variations of things and people show themselves. Don't act like y'all don't see the people that's showing themselves. I see you. I don't want to be you, but I see you. And I'm gonna pee you. That's why I try to stay to myself. I see what people doing. They trying to make it seem like, and they trying to make it seem like, this, that, and the third. Like, nah, listen, I'll tune in for a second or two, but I promise you, the direction that we headed in, monumental. You hear me? We headed in such a big direction, monumental. You get it? Mind your mental. Never mind. It don't matter. we got to keep pushing with knowledge and wisdom and understanding. I'm going to reach out to some people on Instagram and stuff like that. Reach out to some people on Instagram and get some more people involved into this conversation. Maybe not this particular conversation. We'll let them pick the, topic, and we'll, fill in whatever blanks we can, but I can't wait to people, get into this, higher collective of knowledge, because this is where like all of that, history of like the giants and, Tyran and, Zeus, and understanding of the mind and the body and the breakdown of that. That's where this is at, in the seventh, eighth, and ninth dimension, right? This is where your ancestral knowledge comes in, right? The medulla oblongata. This is what I was talking about, right? Medulla oblongata, right? Activates, right? Remember, I just now mentioned the medulla oblongata, the heart-shaped part of the brain. I just now mentioned that, right? And, it just goes to show like the variations of things that, we be talking about over here, but you have to have that open mind. Like, it's almost like getting like the wheels turning in the brain. Like, once you start, understanding that root chakra, sacral chakra, solar plex chakra, so on and so forth, the other chakras start opening up too. Like turning like wheels, right? Like wheels in the brain, right? So you get to turning these wheels in the brain, and then these other chakra doors start opening up as you get to turning these wheels in the brain. Now, the problem is when you're coming into the collective knows, right? They know. And then you'll see them come along with their different variations of manipulation and different variations of things. You'll see them come along and like, but you got to stay true to yourself, because that's what's getting you through all of this stuff, what's bringing back, you know what I mean? Yeah, and there's no going back. That's the true experience of this. It's like once you start unlocking these doors and these levels, to these different dimensions, you can't go back. You can see what's happening in those planes. Like, you can see what's happening in your 3D realm. Like, you can see what's happening in your physical world, right? You can see it. You can go through it. You can be in it. You could be going through it. Like, damn, I got to go to this job, so on and so forth. But you're not there. You're not there because you found these different dimensions in your mind. You know what I mean? So you're not really there. It's like people say you spaced out, but in some type of way, you'll find a way to still be functioning in your physical world, but still not be in the physical world. It's weird. It's like operating like in different places and this is what makes us multidimensional. A lot of people don't realize that. And listen, if you don't believe me, go ask, go ask the Pentagon. The Pentagon will tell you some human beings are multidimensional. They're trying to figure out how we're multidimensional. That's what they're trying to figure out. How are they multidimensional? That's what they're trying to figure out. That's what the study is about, right? That's what they're trying to figure out. How are certain people's DNA and body, how are they multidimensional, right? And how are they doing this astro projecting, sleepwalking, whatever you want to call it, right? Some of us have the ability, if we go to sleep in the daytime, we can change shit. Us sleeping in the daytime, they don't want us to sleep in the daytime. Listen, they don't want us to sleep in the daytime. That's why they work us in the daytime, right? They don't want us to take the 12 o'clock nap. You know what I mean? Remember back in the day when you was a kid, because you take that 12 o'clock nap. You was young, you know what I mean? Take that 12 o'clock nap. Listen, we was changing stuff. We didn't even know it. We didn't even know we was changing stuff when we was taking the midday naps. Our schools and stuff was testing us. You remember? In the gym, they'll put you on the mat, turn off the light, how that person's talking all slow and stuff like that. Next thing you know, you done dozed off for the 40 minutes that you're supposed to be at the gym. You know what I mean? Listen, they know. They know, they know, they know. Huh? Listen, they always been analyzing us, you know? They always been analyzing us. That fourth chakra, the astral plane, they always been analyzing us. You hear me? They know who's moving in what collective. They know the body origin. Like they know this stuff. They study this stuff. They don't want us to know this stuff. They don't want us to put this out there and enlighten each other on this stuff. You know what I mean? Celestial mind, they don't want us to know about these fragments and stuff like that, right? This is what they don't want us to know about. I'm I I'm trying to start classes and lessons on it. You know what I mean? Oh shit.
The 10th axiotonal lines and solar star chakra will take the place of the 7D crown. The corrected crown pattern ultimately merges with the avatar matrix when aligned to the consent with crystal star or Christ. Antichrist entities are the NAA and false gods. This creates a triad pattern between the 6D link to pituitary, 7D link to pineal and 9D links into the hypothalamus and thalamus in the center of the brain. The 6D indigo ray has been undergoing repair with the Mother Arc and Aurora re-encryptions. One can ignite the Mother Arc Aqua ray into the center of the brain to help open the third eye center with Christos consent to alignment. The 6th chakra and 7th chakra ultimately synthesize the male-female chakra wave spectrum and unified pattern through the third eye or 6th chakra. This synthesized 6D, 7D pattern is called building wings. See Hieros Gamos.
See, this is what I'm saying. It's telling you exactly what part of the brain this is taking effect in, right? It's telling you exactly what part of the brain. Like, so when they say like bearing the cross, this is that image of bearing the cross, right? Because when they talk about Calvary is a part of the brain. All of that stuff was talking about the body. It was a part of the brain, right? So the Calvary crucifying on Calvary, that was a part of the brain, but crucified didn't mean to unalive, it meant to multiply tenfold. So this is what a lot of the stories was talking about, even though we now have them as the underlining stories that we have, right? But this is what it was mainly talking about, you know. All those stories was telling a story about the
The
body.
hypothalamus is a small part of the brain that contains a number of nuclei with a variety of functions. One of the most important functions is to link the nervous system to the endocrine system via the pituitary gland. The hypothalamus is located below the thalamus and is part of the limbic system. It forms the ventral part of the diencephalon. All vertebrate brains contain a hypothalamus.
See that?
In humans, it is the size of an almond.
Right there.
The hypothalamus is responsible for regulating certain metabolic processes and other activities of the autonomic nervous system. It synthesizes and secretes
Right
certain
there.
neurohormones, called releasing hormones or hypothalamic hormones, and these in turn stimulate or inhibit the secretion of hormones from the pituitary gland.
See, it
The
rises up
hypothalamus
your
controls
spine.
body temperature, hunger, important aspects of parenting and maternal attachment
Listen,
behaviors, thirst,
listen.
fatigue, sleep, circadian rhythms.
See, but when this is being manipulated, when this is being manipulated, right? That's different when it's being manipulated. Then the hypothalamus, the creation of that, you can see the difference in people. You know, pay attention to the patterns. All you gotta do is pay attention to the patterns. Once you pay attention to the patterns, then you'll realize, like, okay, certain people' brain ain't getting everything. Your brain ain't getting everything. This is when we say the elevator don't go or reach up upstairs or whatever you want to say, right? That's
The
what we
optic
say.
chiasm is located at the bottom of the brain immediately below the hypothalamus. One of the most important functions of the hypothalamus is to link the nervous system to the endocrine system via the pituitary gland. The optic chiasm allows the images from either side of the field from both eyes to be transmitted to the appropriate side of the brain, combining the sides together. This allows for parts of both eyes that attend to the right visual field to be processed in the left visual system in the brain, and vice versa. This is
Now
linked to skin sensation,
this
too.
is why I say like the importance of knowing like this knowledge and so on and so forth, and then understanding like the nervous system, right? The nervous system is what's going to connect everything, right? Your central nervous system is your staff, right? If you look at this as like a staff, right? So this nervous system right here that is basically your you know connected to your brain, everything, your functions, so on and so forth. Your body is connected to this, you know, and there's an ointment that runs up and down this spine, a creative, whatever you want to call it, right? Matter, secretion, whatever, it runs up and down this spine, right? And it moves throughout the nervous system to strengthen all of this stuff, you know, in the body, you know, through the nervous system. And as you can see, multidimensional perceptions, right? So this is also taking place in the body as well, right? All of this stuff is taking place inside of oneself, right? Inside of oneself, all of this is taking place. The Nile River, whatever story you want to call it, right here, runs up the spinal cord. The serpent coils around this to get to the pineal, right? One side is the masculine side, the other side is the feminine side, however you want to look at it, right? The body is broken down like that, right? These vortexes, right? This is your body, right? The staff, all these different stories, it's your body. It's the same stories repeated over and over again. Over and over again, the same stories repeated. But if we was to get into it, that's why, you know, if you look up like a atlas is actually a bone in the neck also, as it is also the, you know, Titan that was punished with holding up the constellations. Well, they say holding up the sky, but whatever you want to call it, right? Uh, this is where like the empaths come in, right? This is where the empaths come in, right? So the our abilities to do certain things, manipulate certain things, pure operating on pure intent, so on and so forth. However you want to do it, like our brains are moving a lot faster than a lot of people, and our emotional status is, you know, we can people can pour into us their emotions or whatever you want to call it, however they do it, manipulate. I don't like it sometimes because it's weird, but a lot of people like to find empaths. It's like finding a genie in a bottle almost when you find an empath, you know, male or female, you know what I mean? Like doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, like people like manipulating empaths. Like they find us and they like checking out our brain pattern because they know how our brain is operating, you know, so they like planting stuff in our brain, making us think what they want us to think so that way the outcome can happen a lot faster. It's almost like rubbing a lamp, you know what I mean? It's almost like a genie, you know what I mean? Things just happen a lot faster when they be finding the empaths, you know what I mean? Like things happen for them a lot faster, you know what I mean?
Empathy is the capacity to understand or feel what another being, a human or non-human animal, is experiencing from within the other being's frame of reference, i.e., the capacity to place oneself in another's position. There are many definitions for empathy which encompass a broad range of emotional states. Types of empathy include cognitive empathy, emotional empathy, and somatic empathy. 1. Empathy has many different definitions that encompass a broad range of emotional states, such as caring for other people and having a desire to help them, experiencing emotions that match another person's emotions, discerning what another person is thinking or feeling, and making less distinct the differences between the self and the other. It also is the ability to feel and share another person's emotions. Compassion and sympathy are two terms that many associate with empathy, but all three of these terms are unique. Compassion is an emotion we feel when others are in need, which motivates us to help them. Sympathy is a feeling of care and understanding for someone in need.
Now imagine an empath, right? An empath, someone comes along and takes advantage of all three of those, right? When you're an empath, someone comes along and takes advantage of all three of those, right? Because what happens is your thinking goes to you being in the position of all of these things that people are going through, which allows them to put a little bit of their emotions on you and you to absorb a little bit of that pain or ease that trouble of thinking about it, right? Even having a conversation, an empath is constantly trying to come up with a solution. Like you take something to an empath, they like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do about this, that, and the third. And the empath would be like, well, did you try this? Did you try that? Did you do this? Did you do that? Right. And even though you might not want to admit that you did or didn't try these things or however, or if this person helped you, so you will always find someone to ease that trouble through conversation. That's the problem. Like the empath, they like people will seek you out. Like, I don't know what it is, man. I just feel comfortable telling you this, and this. And you're like, yeah, okay, I get it. All right. And they're like, man, thank you. Thank you for letting me, just put all of that on your shoulders, man. Whew. Man, you don't know. Like, I feel good already. Like, all right. Whew. And then, like, for the next couple of days, you're stuck with whatever it is that they left with you. And then when they come back and you know what I mean, you done gave them some great advice or something like that. They used it, they worked their problem out, whatever the case may be. And the whole time you were still worried until they came and let you know, like, all right, everything worked out. We good. You're like, all right, whew. And then it's lifted off of you. They'll put the weight on your shoulders. Like they'll put it on your shoulders. You know what I mean? It's like somebody like, telling you like, man, I gotta go through like all next week. Oh man, I gotta go through so much next week. I gotta go through this, that, and the third next week. And then that whole week you worried about them. That whole week you worried about them. You don't hear from them 2 weeks to 2 weeks later, you don't hear from them. And the whole time you was worried about them, and then when you do hear from them, they're like, "Oh yeah, everything went good," so on and so forth. You like, damn, why you ain't let me know? You know what I'm saying? I was worried about you the whole damn time. You know, but that's why I listen. I be trying to stay out of certain conversations because my mind work different. Like once somebody put something in my mind, it don't matter what it is. Like my mind is like wrapped around it. It's wrapped around it. I'm worried about your safety, well being at all times. I ain't telling you that I am, but you know what I'm saying? In my mind, I know. You know what I mean? In my mind, I know. People are manipulating people's empathetic,
Altruism or
you know.
humanitarianism is the behavior of service to others that has a capacity to feel empathy and compassion for others and is aimed at benefiting another person, group, or the planet. Egotism is a behavior that is acted out for personal gain or service to self. Since empathy involves understanding feelings or the capacity to feel the emotional states of other people, the way emotions are characterized in one's personal experience is how the emotions will be characterized for others having similar experiences. The ability to imagine oneself as another person in their position and be able to feel what they may be feeling in those circumstances, standing in another person's shoes, is a sophisticated imaginative process which develops compassion. Humans seem to make the same immediate connection between the tone of voice and other vocal expressions and inner feeling. Empathy is distinctly different from sympathy, pity, and emotional contagion.
All right, bear with me, bear with me, bear with me.
Contagion. Sympathy or empathic concern is the feeling of compassion or concern for another, and the wish to see them better off or happier. Pity is feeling that another is in trouble and in need of help as they cannot fix their problems themselves, often described as feeling sorry for someone. Emotional contagion is when a person, especially an infant or a member of a mob, group consciousness, imitatively catches the emotions that others are showing without necessarily recognizing this is happening. The goal of spiritual development is to be fully present and aware to emotional states and to choose the emotional states one expresses, instead of being at the whim of the undisciplined emotional states generating from the pain body. 2.
You see that? That's what I be trying to explain to people. Like a lot of people will get caught up in that repeated operation of the pain body, which is the operation of feelings and emotions, getting caught up in operation in the 3D or third chakra, first chakra, or second chakra, right? All of these three chakras, people will operate in these three chakras, and then it becomes the normal operation. This is where uh your triggerings of your emotions, they say it's overstimulating. This is what people can manipulate right now. These manipulative entities, you can see them manipulating these emotional triggers that are connected to your pain body, whether it be racism, slavery, whatever.
Most of the time, when we experience an event in our lives in which a shocking and painful event occurs, it is uncovering not only false structures, but buried parts of the unconscious mind and cellular memories that are embedded in our bodies. Meeting the negative energy or blockages when this inner conjunction is made acts as the spiritual catalyst for great changes and potential consciousness transformation. It forces the surface or hidden fears located in the pain body to be brought out into the thoughts, emotions, behaviors, or in the impulses of the person.
See that? Dang, I'm about to take it down because I'm yawning again. That's my second yawn in less than 5 minutes. Shit, I'm tired. All right, we definitely got. I mean, I've been out in the sun all day trying to rally up donkeys and different stuff. Okay, so yeah, we definitely gotta get into this light body. Definitely gotta get into this different variations of stuff. But you know, when you get into the SRA, the satanic rituals that's going on right now, you can see this happening right now. People don't want to admit it, but this is what's happening right now. This unaliving, suicidal pattern. This is what's happening right now. You know, I'm just gonna play a little bit of it, but this is what's happening. I ain't gonna play all of it. You see the stuff that's popping up if you got your phone sideways or whatever. Yeah, tomorrow. Tomorrow
If our marketed and sold version of God performs human and blind
we'll get into it.
cannibalism of Christ, misogyny, and yet humans are supposed to have a spiritual goal to be as virtuous as Jesus Christ, this is one clever way to promote spiritual terrorism. This is the persecution of the true spiritual nature and the intentional consciousness crucifixion of any human being that is aligned with real Christ virtues. This is the strategic and deliberate spiritual oppression of humans that want to live in accordance to Christos attributes. To worship the tortured body of Christ as a bloodied sacrifice on a cross made by God's will promotes fear, terror, and the continual rhetoric of violence throughout the subconscious and conscious minds of all people on the earth. This violent agenda and belief in blood sacrifice and holy wars spreads into other world religions and cultural belief systems like Islam. The result of promoting human violence as an acceptable means of survival of the fittest for any human culture is designed for the same anti-human agenda for spiritual oppression and enslavement. Spiritual oppression is to spread and promote separation, fear and violence throughout the cultural landscape of all human beings, thus descending our planet into a barbaric race with low morality, no reverence or ethics for life, nor accountable to the future direction and evolution of the species.
Do you see that? You hear what that says? I mean, there's no accountability to the future generations or the evolvement of the species of mankind when you are doing these, blood sacrificial things, religious sacrificial things. There's no real, it's just a fight. Everything always leads to a fight because there's always separation, division, so on and so forth, right? So it's all of that. See, that's why I say we got to get into that, Mark that, write that down. Write that down that we got to get into that tomorrow. Okay? Market it and write it down. Okay? Market it and write it down. We got to get into that tomorrow. So that's what you see. And then you see anybody who's actually trying to put true unity out there, stuff like that. Anybody who's actually trying to put true unity out there or anything of that nature, you know what I mean? You see them come against us real quick. Anybody who's trying to just unite and have unity, you see them come against us real quick. You see how fast they try to tear down the Discord and so on and so forth. They came against it real quick, right? Because if you're trying to practice true unity, so on and so forth, they not having that. They not trying to, what? You trying to practice true unity? Hell nah. Hell nah. You ain't trying to practice true unity? Hell nah. You trying to do one for all and all for one? Hell nah. Hell nah. We ain't having that. Hell nah. So that's why you see them come against us real quick. But we still going to keep pushing forward. We still going to keep pushing, knowledge, wisdom, understanding. We still going to try to keep on, reaching different variations of people and uniting. Right now the journey is slow in the physical because we're trying to build what we're building out here, but it'll pick up. You guys know it'll pick up. It's just the beginning. We've only just begun. Make sure you subscribe to the page or become a member to the page. You're welcome to do that. We slow right now. We slow, but we getting there. You know what I mean? If you want to donate. Cash App is there. PayPal is there. Whatever way you want to do it. If you want a private class, we also have the clothing store. We have the Discord. Feel free to join the Discord. We are over on TikTok. What else? Cobb's Landing. We out here in North Carolina. If you're in North Carolina, hit me up. What else? If nobody told you that they love you today, let me be the first but not the last to tell you that I love you. What else? Yeah, that's it. And I'm going to get some sleep. I'm going to get some sleep. I don't know what y'all going to do.
Get back.
Hope y'all get some shut-eye.
Get back to yourself.
Good night. Good night.
Get back to yourself. No. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Every thought sensor. They don't like it when we speak. When we beat. The living under pressure. It's not a life for the weak or the meek. Gotta rise that temperature. It's real cold in these streets. Bring the heat. a spiritual venture. Gotta watch who you greet, who you meet. You know you do right, so they tell you you're wrong. Put up a fight, they don't like that you're strong. Crave that control, so they string you along. Catch a break, that shit's prolonged. When you know you don't belong, so it's back to the same old con. With a song bringing facts, so they want you gone. Get back to yourself. Why you tryna please these thieves? They don't wish you well. They don't wish you well. Take and throw it in your face like a show and tell. Swimming in a world of snakes. Open gate to hell as they yell. Get back to yourself. Get back to yourself. Talk that talk, walk that walk. Represent for the flock, time weighing like a boulder tick tock.